They don't even have formal diplomatic relations, but tonight, the leaders of two of the world's greatest adversaries say they are going to meet to talk about peace. Donald Trump has accepted an invitation from Kim Jong-un. The stunning news came from a South Korean official who just briefed the U.S. president on an incredible offer from the North Korean leader.
President Trump appreciated the briefing and said he would meet Kim Jong-un by May to achieve permanent denuclearization.
We are covering this developing story from here at home and abroad. Senior correspondent Susan Ormiston is digging into the prospects for peace, and our Asia correspondent Sasha Petrusik is tracking reaction from South Korea. But first, what led to tonight's extraordinary announcement? Until tonight, such a meeting seemed not just impossible, but a little ridiculous to even contemplate. North Korea had been launching a series of missile tests since last August. The last one, it said, was capable of reaching U.S. soil. And Trump had been retaliating with escalating sanctions and an escalating war of words, threatening Kim Jong-un with fire and fury.
Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself and for his regime.
So why their dramatic climb down now? Well, Susan Ormiston just returned from South Korea, where she was covering the Olympics. And Susan, as we saw, an incredible turn of events that really got going in part due to the games.
Yes, pretty dramatic tonight. Both sides appear to want to move on that momentum which started at the Pyeongchang Olympics, but really quite a reversal for a president who, as you saw, called Kim Jong-un Little Rocket Man and also told his Secretary of State Rex Tillerson that he was wasting his time trying to negotiate with North Korea.
Right, so what has to happen now?
Well, lots. The U.S. has to assess the credibility of Kim Jong-un's offer to suspend nuclear trials and tests, and also what the North Korean leader really means by committing to denuclearization. The U.S. has to come up with a negotiating plan to present at any North Korean summit, and it can't start with dismantle all the nuclear weapons. That would be a failed talks. So that's going to be the biggest nut to crack, and it has to engage other countries, Japan, China, Russia, of course, South Korea, who all have vested interests. And this all has to happen, Andrew, with a deficit of North Korean diplomatic experts currently in the White House. The U.S. has no ambassador in Seoul. That's a vacancy. And the most senior diplomat with experience on North Korea left his post just last Friday. So there has to be all kinds of pre-meetings in place before any presidential summit.
So it's a mammoth task ahead. What do we know about the meeting itself?
Well, you heard the South Koreans say it will be in May, but tonight the White House is backing up a bit, trying to give itself a bit more wiggle room on the dates. Sarah Sanders said earlier this evening that President Trump accepts the invitation at a place and time to be determined and looks forward to the denuclearization of North Korea. Now, Andrew, let's be clear. We have not heard that the North Korean leader is saying he will dismantle all the nuclear weapons. Tillerson said just yesterday, positive sounds, but a long way from direct talks. And tonight, a senior administration official said, in fact, we're not talking about negotiations. We're talking about a face-to-face meeting.
Right. Susan Ormiston reporting for us tonight. Now, our Asia correspondent, Sasha Petrusik, is also following this story from South Korea. He's in Pyeongchang to cover the Paralympic Games. But Sasha, clearly a different focus tonight. Tell us about the reaction in South Korea, both from the president and from broader society.
Well, I think this has been really the president's dream come true. President Moon Jae-in of South Korea has been working toward this in different ways for all his career, really. And he was elected just a little more than a year ago on a platform of conciliation with the North, not confrontation, with this idea that the North could be brought to the negotiating table. So for him, this would be a huge political win. You know, I have to tell you that over the past 2 years, I've been watching public opinion here in terms of North Korea. Obviously, South Koreans have the most at stake. They're right next door. They would be on the front line of any confrontation with the United States, between the United States and North Korea. People here started with the idea that they wanted peace, but as things started to get sort of heated up, in many ways opinions split. And a lot of people here are very surprised, obviously, by this development, but they're also skeptical. They've seen this movie before. They feel they've seen this movie before, of North Korea saying, we want to come to the negotiating table, we want to talk, yes, maybe we can dismantle these weapons. They've said that before. They've gone to the negotiating table before, and a lot of South Koreans believe that this may be a ploy again to actually buy more time for the North. Others here, of course, are looking at this as a huge advancement, a huge surprise, but a very positive one, and maybe the end of what they see as a nightmare over the past many years.
And so, Sasha, talk to me a little bit about alongside the prospect for progress, the military exercises. We heard reference to those in this evening's address.
Yes, in many ways, that is the yardstick that people here look at. You know, they see the United States as a very close ally, but more than that, as a guarantee that they won't be invaded by the North, they won't be taken over. And these exercises have been a very tangible proof of United States commitment. The question now is, will they ever continue again? They've been put off because of the Olympics. A lot of people here believe that the North has been buying for time and actually has been trying to push the United States not to have these exercises. The U.S. and South Korea have said that they will resume. And in fact, in the proposal for an agreement or proposal for negotiations today, there was the understanding that by the North, that the exercises would continue in the South. They understand that that may have to happen. For a lot of people here, if they don't happen, that's going to be a huge development, and they expect actually missiles and exercises, war games, if you like, to continue very soon.
Sasha Petrusik in Pyeongchang. Always good to hear from you. Thanks so much. And reaction tonight from Canada. A spokesperson for Foreign Affairs Minister Chrystia Freeland said in a statement, Canada has always believed that a diplomatic solution to the North Korean nuclear crisis is essential and possible. That is why we convened a meeting of 20 countries co-hosted by the United States in Vancouver in January to discuss a path forward.